Hi, this is Lou. So I just finished the site visits for two cities for the awards program for ICF. I got to do New Taipei City, and that's in Taiwan, and Durham in Canada. Two completely different places. One's 4 million, obviously New Taipei City, and one's about 400,000 or so in Durham. It's a Durham region, actually, a group of cities. Um, Both really, I mean, just blown away stuff as usual. What struck me about New Taipei City and Durham was the degree to which they both think holistically, right? So they're not just thinking about the technology, although New Taipei City does tend to lean on technology, whereas Durham tends to lead more on social development using technology. But both of them end up coming to the same place. There's this one project in New Taipei City that the judges will read about and you'll hear more about, where they've literally taken the biggest industrial wasteland I've ever heard of and have converted it to this like beautiful place to live. And the way they did it, methodically, um, getting companies that were polluting off the properties. And there was some tension there. They were very open about the fact that they had to go in there and have some hard conversations. The fact that they did it and did it within a relatively short time, I think within a couple of years, is just amazing. So it gives you a sense of how they're thinking about this. So they've got that going. Durham is just focused on, of course, they're focused on everything, but what they've really got going is, again, sustainability. They're looking at the environment as a driver for the economy. So both of these places are looking, 10, 15, 20 years ahead. And it's really remarkable. What's also remarkable is the way they work together, that there's this level of collaboration that you necessarily wouldn't expect, in a city. And that kind of leads me to thinking about why ICF is important and why when we go to Dublin, Ohio, at the end of October for our summit, we're welcomed and why we're important. The reason I think is this: if it was just up to the political class, right, in a city, what you'd end up with is a political solution, which means that you would congregate everything around power, and power would sort of dictate the terms of whatever happens in terms of development. If you left it up to just the developers, the financial or the private sector, you'd end up with, wealth creation as the only goal for the society, right? Neither one of those things are bad things. They both operate, in cities. But if it's just the creation of wealth, you would end up with an aggregation of wealth, up or around the top. It's just how it works. So an organization like ICF, which comes in and says, no, you balance this stuff and you add all these other features, right? Especially human development, stay focused on the individual and provide them with service. Think about their daily life, right? Is really the leavening factor here. It's really the thing that gives these cities their substance, their texture, and their intelligence. And I think that's why we call them intelligent communities. And it's probably why, not 100,000 communities pick up on our idea, but you get a couple hundred at a time because it's a really, really hard thing to go through. But I think that's the virtue. I think that's the value of what we do. So, just to go back to the two examples, New Taipei City, everything they think about now with regard to their technology investments is how do you, this is their phrase too, which I love. How do you make the burden of living, I mean, it's fundamentally what it is. It's tough, right, to live. How do you make it easier for people? I mean, everything is focused on that. Similarly in Durham, how do you make this place a clean place, an efficient place? How do you make each of those communities, wonderful places to live, each with their own identity, using technology, but also using some of these other instruments, the ICF method. So, that's the part of this that really, kind of got me excited when I was touring those places virtually. It's a shame we couldn't, go there and just physically, because that's always a thrill, right? You go there and you look around, and then you kind of ask the taxi cab driver or the woman who runs the convenience store, hey, what's really going on here? You really like this place, or are they full of shit? So you don't get a chance to do that with these kind of tours, but I think we've got everything about right. And so the report for the jury and what you'll hear when you meet these people in Ohio, I think will reveal more of the story about how someone can live in a great place, make where they live a great place, and it not necessarily be New York City where I am right now, or Singapore or wherever. And again, that's the whole ICF. That's the whole ICF idea. So the point of all of this is that we really would like you to come to Dublin, Ohio, right? October 25th, 26th, you can register online at icfsummit.com. And, again, what you'll see are actually two cities, Columbus and Dublin. They're side by side, which over the last 10 years have done some amazing stuff like I'm talking about. Dublin, of course, has the Jack Nicklaus designed golf course, which, you'll get a tour of, which, is always a gem to look at. But what you'll also see is a city of about 50,000 people that produce more Fortune 1000 companies than any other place in America on a per capita basis, of course. Now, that's America, right? It's not like someplace else. America's got a lot of Fortune 1000 companies, and they all perform like, powerhouses. So this place, right? This place has more of them on a per capita basis. There's a reason for that. And again, when you get there, you'll find out why. Because you may be saying to yourself, Dublin, isn't that in Ireland? Or what? Ohio, why should I go to Ohio? I usually go to New York or London for the ICF Summit. You'll find out when you get there. And it'll be worth your trip.